It's my pleasure to talk to a big offensive lineman from nearby Cary, Ohio, Cary High School. And I think it's about 10 miles away, 12 miles. Easton Carote's a big offensive lineman. He's getting scholarship looks, and coming from a small school, he realizes he has to do really well. Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. How tall are you? And what are your measurements now, Easton? I think it's really important.
Yeah, so I actually just measured myself a couple days ago, and I'm 6'4.5" with no shoes. My wingspan is 79 inches. My hand size is 9 inches, and my weight's currently 273.
273. And
Yep.
you want to stay right around there. Don't get much bigger. I don't like those guys getting above 285. So that sounds really good. And it's important to know you can move your feet. And you used to play basketball, but you don't now, right? You just gotten bigger and stronger.
Right.
Are you doing anything this spring with
Um,
track or baseball or anything like that?
no, we have team liftings, and that started back in January, and we're in the spring portion now. So just getting bigger, faster, stronger.
Getting to be outside and everything really helps too.
Yeah, it does. It's been nice out this week too.
You play both ways, defense too, or just offensive tackle or offensive guard?
Yeah, so my sophomore year I started both ways. And then towards the end of the season I transitioned to only offense. And then my past season I played a little bit of defense, but mainly offense.
Why football? What do you like about football? What do you love about football, Easton?
I love, the brotherhood of football. You don't get that with any other sport. You can also go out there and just hit on people legally. And that's always fun. I've always liked that aspect of the game. But yeah, definitely the brotherhood for me. It's just you're just
okay. What don't you like about football? Pick out one thing you don't like.
I don't know if I dislike anything about football, to be honest
How about
with you.
losing?
I mean, yeah, losing. I guess I didn't think about that. Losing for sure.
Maybe your whole team gets down and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You're playing. What's the hardest part of playing offensive line?
The hardest part is probably, that's a hard question.
What's the easiest part?
The easiest part?
Okay, let's change it, Easton. What's your strength?
My strength, I dominate the guy over me, every play. I think I've let up maybe one sack, and that was my sophomore year. So, my strong suit is probably the run game. That's just because we're a mainly run team.
Right.
I work on my pass set, 3-4 days a week. So I'm definitely improving my pass blocking. But my strong suit is definitely my run blocking.
Well, I've watched your highlight films and stuff, and you do a good job at that pass blocking. Consider the problem is too, a lot of times you're blocking smaller guys. Now you can bend, you play high a little bit, but you can bend. I know you can do that. You're athletic, but that's one thing I would really work on if I were you, is bending your knees, getting a power angle somewhat. Okay. But you move well enough. And I think now just getting weight or getting stronger. And I think you move well enough. And I think that you kind of need camps. I think there'll be something this year with camps. I think hopefully June. I just can't. In fact, I think they're supposed to vote on it pretty soon, some policy, but the NCAA doesn't know for sure what they're doing. You're a camp guy for a lot of guys. You know that? And what I mean by that's not negative. That just means they got to see you in camp. And the lineman from Cary a few years ago, I've lost track now, he could run, and that really helped him. And he's a big lineman. I went to Michigan State. His name slips me, and I know it well. But he can run. That's what you can get better at it. Okay, what anybody you kind of look at in the pros that you'll think is pretty good, or you would like to emulate? Anybody like that? Do you watch it closely, or any offensive lineman?
Yeah.
College or pro?
Yeah, so pro for me, the first name that comes to mind is Joe Thomas. I watched him the past, 6 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's retired now, but I've always looked up to him playing. And this past year, I was really paying close attention to Tristan Wirfs from the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Okay.
He's a very athletic and really good. I've learned a lot just by watching them.
Okay.
So I'd say those two.
Okay. And now let's go a different place. Anybody you kind of look up to has helped you, your career or your young career? Anybody that's been kind of a guiding force for you or anything like that you can attribute some of your success to?
Right. Obviously, if my parents didn't support me and they didn't, pay, because obviously, getting recruiting is not completely free, with camps and maybe services. So, definitely them. Other than that, I'd say, my head coach, Jonathan Merschman, for sure. My offense line coach, Bob Damschroeder. Those two guys, and also, an assistant coach, David Steen. They all, push me day in and day out to be better. So yeah, I wouldn't be anywhere close to here.
And especially your parents, right?
Yeah.
Your parents, right. Like you said early. That's parents, really good. Yeah. Okay. What do you have to work on in football? Did we talk about that? Did we talk about, it's not a weakness, but something you really want to get better at? Run pass protection. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Pass protection. I need to work, I can always improve my feet, obviously. Bending, flexibility.
Okay. What do you, now here's my first silly question. What talent would you like to have that you don't have that you could probably never achieve? What would you like, so what talent would you like to have?
Probably, the ability to jump high. A vertical is not bad, and that's not that important for an offensive lineman, but I mean it just shows athleticism,
and explosion.
And explosion. Well, I mean, I do have a little bit of explosion, but nothing near to where I'd like it to be.
You'd like to be able to vertical 40 inches, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Probably won't get that.
No.
Okay, that's a good answer, Al. Okay, any top sports moment for you so far? Anything that you just look back, you say, yeah, that's going to be a remembered time. Anything like that?
Yeah. So my sophomore year, we played state-ranked Seneca East away. It was at their place, and it was a battle. They had all Ohio offensive linemen, all 5 of them actually. Their D line was solid too. All like 300 pounds. They were huge. And they were undefeated. And we actually, handed them their first loss in overtime. And I remember my coach came up to me and told me, well, I'm going to have to watch my words here. But he basically told me that he's going to run behind me. So it's time to, pull up the big boy pants. And, that's what I did. And we scored the touchdown. We won the game. That's
that must be, I'm not cutting you off on purpose, because he told me that story last week. So that must have been an important thing for both of you.
Yeah.
Okay?
That game.
And then that just changes your whole outlook on football, I think, probably getting there. Okay. what advice would you give to a freshman? You know, say we're in August, and then what would you tell a freshman? Because Kerry, there's a chance that sometimes a freshman can play in practice, I think, and stuff.
Right.
What would, probably not all, but what would you tell a freshman?
The biggest advice I would give is to make sure, you come to every single lifting, make sure you're, putting the right things in your body. Because, looking back on it, my eighth grade going into my freshman year, I could have, worked out harder. I could have pushed myself harder. So, and that's definitely a regret for me. So looking back on it, that's something I would definitely, tell the incoming freshmen, just not to have that regret of,
Right.
thinking you put yourself harder.
That's really good. That's really good. Okay, now with that being said, what kind of words do you live by? What is your what do you live by? Like for me, it's always leave it on the field, compete, whatever I'm doing. Like this podcast, I want to be the best. So I got to do everything I can to make this the best. So what do you have any words like that? Any words of you live by?
Yeah, so I do live by a couple different sayings, but the one that stands out to me would be stay hungry, stay humble, and I wear that on my wrist. I have it on. I never take it off. That's just I've always ever since I was in midgets, I've always wanted more. Like we won the Super Bowl is called. It was like the championship game, and if we smoked the other team, I still wasn't satisfied. I just wanted more and more. So definitely, stay hungry, stay humble. Never get satisfied.
That's really good.
Things.
That's good, Easton. And there's always the next level. Once you get, there's a next level. There's a next weight.
Definitely,
That's
yes.
really good. Okay, second crazy question. If you could change places with somebody for one day, who would it be? Well, anybody in the world, anybody, who would you be?
Oh, that's a tough question. Probably, I would probably change places with, maybe, LeBron James. I just think that'd be cool to be, 6'8", everybody know who you are. You'd be super athletic. I think that'd just be a cool experience one day. He's kind of my idol growing up anyway, just because, basketball was always my preferred sport up until, I realized I had a future in football.
Right.
So yeah, I'd say LeBron James probably.
Well, that's good. A lot of guys I interview say that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, my other crazy question is, what do you do when you're alone? Not when you're hanging with the guys and all that stuff, but when you're totally alone, what do you do?
Yeah, so most of the time, I'm either sending my film out to coaches, trying to get my name out there, or I'm watching, informational videos on, technique, certain workouts to improve, whatever it may be. I hardly ever, I have an Xbox, but I hardly ever play it. I don't really watch, movies or anything. I'm normally just spend my time, trying to get better. And,
That's good. Okay, let's talk recruiting. Okay, and it's going to get better for you. Okay, and you have to understand that. And I think you're getting some people in the MAC looking at you and looking at you seriously. And you also talked about these podcasts always go so fast. But I'm going to run over again. But like Bucknell, you told me Bucknell is interested. And, Bucknell, you got to be able to read and write, don't you? I mean, your grades are pretty good, right?
Yeah, I have a 4.0. And I'm actually, I wasn't happy with my first ACT score, so I'm going to retake in April, and hopefully I can get, 29, 30. That's my goal. But yeah, and, Bucknell offered me a full ride, as well as Lehigh. They're both high academic schools.
Yes, sir.
I think I'd fit right in.
So recruiting, and we've talked before about that. It's just you got to keep plugging away at it. I don't want to ask you
Right.
your frustration. I think it's you want the process to go faster, right?
I mean, it'd be nice, if it went faster, because my goal is to play in the MAC somewhere, as close to home. Location isn't a huge factor, but if my parents could come to my games, that'd be huge.
Obviously, yeah, that's
Obviously.
great. That's really good. Is why would I want to recruit you? I mean, you're in a small school, middle of the league program. You play good football. But why would I want to recruit you to come to my college, Division I?
Well, I look at myself, as a good leader. As a captain last year, I hold my teammates accountable. Day in, day out, make sure to push themselves to be the best they can be. If you recruit me, and bring me in, I'll make impact right away. Whether it's guiding people in the right direction. I might not get playing time the first couple of years, but I mean I'll be there as a to motivate people.
Good.
Hold them accountable,
Good.
sure.
That's really good. That's good, and that means a lot. Okay, I appreciate you being on my podcast. You're a little not far away, and hopefully I get to see you work out here one of these days. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thanks for being on, Easton.
Yep,
Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Okay.